In this episode, flying Teslas, waterlogged computers, and Michael's been converted. Welcome to episode 56 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rowe, we're back from our trip.
We are.
Trip to the middle of the state, where we proceeded to watch a lot of racing, and I was able to wake you up at 1:30 in the morning to watch a rocket launch.
Yes, I got to see a little candle thing go up the sky and then a little thing go down the sky, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's correct.
It was actually kind of fascinating.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I mock you on this a lot, but it was actually kind of cool.
I told you, look in the direction of the Cape Canaveral. There will be a very blatant candle in the sky. It was crystal clear in the middle of the night on, what was it, Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night going to Saturday morning.
I bet you that nobody there probably knew about it, but for those who did know about it, you couldn't miss it.
Agreed. We were also probably the only sober people there.
Probably. There was still partying going on at that time. Yes.
A lot. I could hear from our tents, people just blasting music.
Mm-hmm. But that is Sebring. It is I tell people it is a party that happens to have a race around it.
That's 100% true.
Yes.
100% true.
Normally people don't go there to watch the race. We do, but a lot of people don't.
Correct.
They go to their party.
Correct.
Yes.
But we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm. We have lots to talk about at Sebring.
Yes. For now, let's get into some news, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. So some news that I'm super stoked about. Porsche news, I know, I'm sorry to tell you, but the new 718 Cayman GT4 RS has been given to a lot of the media outlets. So a lot of the big name car media people, right? The Car and Drivers, the Motor Trends, those kind of people, right? I wish that I had had a chance to get my hands on it, but based upon what I'm seeing on the interwebs, it sounds like most of them are absolutely loving this car. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are describing this as almost like the perfect sports car.
The perfect sports car.
Yeah.
Now, this is a Cayman. This is not a 911.
Correct.
Ooh.
Which means the engine is in the middle. It's not in the rear.
Which is debatably where an engine should be for a car.
Driving dynamics would say that, yes, the engine should be in the middle. It should not be hanging way over in the tail.
Right. So what else are they saying about this car?
They're saying that the sound is gorgeously deafening because that engine is so much closer to your eardrums. It's like right there that it's the 9,000 RPM revving flat six is just an absolute screamer.
Perfect.
And that this apparently GT4 RS is exactly what the GT4 wanted to be. So the GT4 wanted to be more of a true proper GT sports car. Now the GT4 RS, it's got a 4-liter naturally aspirated flat six that is derived straight from the GT3 Cup car that we see racing.
Oh,
like the actual Cup car.
Oh,
whereas the regular GT4 has kind of like a fancier, fluffed up, de-turboed version of a flat six out of like a turbo. So they're both 4-liter flat sixes, but one is truly derived from a race car, and one is, it's still properly impressive, but not quite as straight off the track as the other.
So that's why you were saying that it should have been this car.
Yeah, this is a hell of a car. This is really, really a hell of a car. Comes with some scaffolding in there. It's a lightweight car. I didn't see numbers. There may have been some numbers in here. Let me actually take a look and see. Let's see. Did it give me numbers? Numbers are weight 3,200 pounds ish.
That's light.
It's light. It's got almost 500 horsepower, which is funny. So they're being quoted that it's got 493 horsepower. Now, this is the exact same engine that's in the GT3, which is the 911, that develops 503, 502.
Okay.
But I think that's just Porsche playing a little bit of just let's not upstage the 911 here, right? Yep. I think it develops 500 horsepower, exactly the same as the GT3.
And is this lighter than the GT3?
Probably a little bit, yeah.
Wow.
It's a smaller car, right? Damn, this car is just the business. This car is the business. Like I said, it revs almost $9,000. There's a quote from a Porsche engineer in this article. The quote said that whenever the GT4 RS engineering team came to a development crossroads, we made a point of always choosing the path of greatest performance. Ooh, I like this quote a lot. Isn't that exactly what you want to hear? Like, if you're looking for a sports car, just give me the best performance.
For the RS version, yes.
Mm-hmm.
For the normal GT4, not so much, but
it's just...
That's what they were building the RS, so...
Yeah, God, it's just... Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Plus with those... They've gotten rid of the rear quarter windows, that glass in the quarter window, right? Which we talked about before when they first announced this car, and they've swapped it for this carbon fiber intake. So you hear a lot of apparently reporting hear a lot of induction noises. Oh, dude, so excited for this car.
So would you drive this over a 911?
Here's what I would do.
Okay.
I would have this for track days, and then I would have a 911 GT3 Touring for the fun canyons.
But you would not have a 911 GT3 RS for a track day.
This is mid-engined.
I see.
Mm.
Would you rather have the Porsche hanging over the rear or the mid-engine? Also, what are we talking about price-wise here? Is this reasonably close to a 911 in price?
It is. It's $150,000.
Oh, okay.
It's $150,000. Yeah, it's $150,000 Cayman.
What's a 911 GT3 RS?
That's not out yet. The new GT3 RS.
Okay, the older iteration of it.
I don't know, $230,000.
Okay, so it's more.
Yeah. The GT3 RS is much more. The current GT3 is still more.
But this is more of a purist car, you would
This
call
is
it?
more, I'm not going to say purist. This is more race car for the road.
And the 911 would not be.
It's not that it would not be. It's that that's what this car is. I don't know. How do I
Other than
describe
it
that?
being a mid-engine, what more is there difference?
The mid-engine and
That's
the
it?
smallerness of it.
And it's smaller and a little bit cheaper.
Well, the mid-engineness and the smallerness. And the carbon and the intake window. I like the intake window. I'm a big fan of that.
I get that, but when they come out with the new 911 GT3 RS, I have a feeling you're going to be like,
Oh no,
leaves
that's
this in the dust.
Oh no, that will steal my heart. Yes.
Okay.
But for the moment,
Your heart is easily stolen.
oh, it is. Yes.
I see.
So for the moment, I would say the perfect two-car solution would be a GT4 RS for the fun track day stuff,
Mhm.
and a GT3 Touring for the regular everyday kind of stuff.
Okay. Respectable.
But yeah, so the whole point is that we can start expecting to see more kind of articles and stuff coming out about the GT4 RS. I'm expecting to start seeing them hitting dealers in the coming months, I would imagine.
Okay. It does look to me like a very fun, fast, but more refined. I don't know what to describe
exactly.
it as.
It's really hard to just put the word on it.
I don't know.
Right? It's like a GT4 that's just every little bit is just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right? It's just take a GT4 and just make every little piece just a little bit better.
I don't know how to describe to somebody who's not a Porsche person, like the difference between a 911 and a Cayman, other than the mid-engine. Like there's more to it.
There is.
I don't know what it would be.
Smaller, go-kartier. Yeah.
Not as much power, right? Because I don't think it has as much power as a 911.
Technically,
It's close.
According to Porsche, it doesn't.
It's close.
But it definitely does.
Well, I guess the power to weight would be probably better for the Cayman.
Probably a little bit, yeah. Porsche's going to keep stating that it doesn't have the same amount of power as the
Right.
911, but it's got the exact same powertrain.
Right.
So it definitely does. They're just not trying to upstage their flagship, right?
Yeah.
So
I get it.
yeah, that's the new GT4 RS. It's been seen on Button Willow out in California.
Yep. Fun
Super
track.
stoked to start seeing more about this car.
That's cool. So let's move on to something else.
Okay.
Do you have anything?
So I have seen something circulating around the interwebs.
A lot of things do that.
Mm-hmm. This has gone pretty viral pretty quick.
Yep.
Someone in California got their hands on a Tesla, which most in California do, and instead of just having their Tesla roll stop signs at 6 miles an hour, they decided to huck this thing into the stratosphere, 50 feet in the air, and jump this Tesla Model S.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, have you seen the video of this?
This is, oh my God. I've seen the video 1,000 times, and I actually can't stop watching it.
It's pretty wild.
The hang time.
Yeah.
This is like real Dukes of Hazzard kind of shit here.
It's one of those California roads that's really, really super hilly.
Just some good old boys, never meaning no harm. As they, instead of the General Lee, they huck the General, I don't know, woke.
They absolutely bomb the Tesla. It is crazy. It does get 50 feet in the air. We have a GIF of it here, of it just launching
It is
up
just,
into the air.
it's the hang time for me. I mean, it's not like a little bit of air. This is like,
Yeah.
someone literally threw their Tesla down a hill.
Uh-huh. It's pretty wild.
How fast do you think he was going when he did that?
It doesn't take long for that thing to get up to speed, so I imagine...
Think he was doing 60?
I think he's doing 70 or 80, yeah.
You think that's more 70 or 80?
Yeah. Yeah. And
That
when he
thing
came
had to have
down,
been
you could see
moving.
it just smash the front of the car, smash the rear of the car.
I gotta think, how is that guy's back not broken?
I don't know. It probably is. I don't know. Yeah.
Sheesh.
But from what I've heard, they have not... The car got away. It drove away.
Wait, what? The car actually drove away?
From what I've heard... And there's a warrant, or there's a bounty out of $1,000 right now to get whoever it is that was doing that, because nobody has stepped up and said they were the ones.
So I guess the question here is $1,000 bounty, does that mean that the cops are actually serious about it? Because $1,000 is not much,
No.
right?
No.
They're like, okay, my guess is the cops are thinking, okay, we have to do something to kind of release the pressure here, relieve the pressure, but it's only $1,000. It's not like... I mean, the amount of views this video's gotten is going to earn way more than $1,000.
I think it was removed from YouTube, but it's already been bubbled around the internet, and I'm sure many people have downloaded it and saved it places. So it's going to be out there at this point.
Yeah, it's never going to die at this point.
No, but yeah, whoever did it is going to be in big trouble if they get caught from the police. But whoa, what a wild man!
I did hear a couple other random things about this. Apparently, that Tesla was rented.
Ooh.
Some reports are saying that the Tesla was rented. It wasn't even owned. It was just rented.
Spicy.
Even worse. And it happened after a Tesla meet. Can you imagine a meet you wouldn't want to go to less than that? A Tesla meet.
I'll be there.
Oh my God, that's the worst sounding thing in the world.
I will be there.
Good luck.
I'll be there with
watch
my BRZ.
someone huck their Tesla.
Oh, I'd love to watch it. It'd be fantastic to watch it.
Yeah, watch it from a distance and go, oh, what is that?
Yes.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a Tesla.
And it's like a Model S. It's not even... I don't think it was a Model 3.
No, it was like
the big one.
It was the big one.
The big heavy one.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
I'm stunned at the actual air and hang time that this thing got.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty wild. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Interesting to say the least, for sure. But there has been a lot of racing that's happened over this past weekend.
There has been.
A massive amount of racing that has happened.
There has been.
So, where do you want to start in terms of the racing world?
I want to end with our Sebring experience.
Okay.
I want to start with F1.
Ooh, Formula 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Formula 1 was at Bahrain this weekend. Did you see that?
I saw that it was, but I did not see the race.
Let's recap here. First race of the season. First race with the new cars.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of unknowns here. This was also a night race.
Yes, it was.
So, we go into this first race knowing that Mercedes is downplaying their cars, saying, we're not as fast as we think we are. Ferrari, supposed to be very quick. Red Bull, supposed to be quicker than the Mercedes, not as quick as the Ferraris, from what we can tell in testing.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the weekend, that was the position. Here's how qualifying played out. Ferrari in pole. I think it was Mr. Leclerc in pole position. And then we get a Red Bull, and then we get a Ferrari, and then we get a Red Bull, and then we get a Mercedes. Interesting.
Ooh, that's not the standard Mercedes 1-2.
That is not Mercedes 1-2 or Red Bull Mercedes 1-2.
That was where I was going next.
Yeah. It is a Red Bull in there, but they're not 1-2.
There's a Red Bull and a Mercedes tossed in the mix, but they are, what is that, 4 and 5?
They were 4 and...
excuse me.
4 and 7.
2, 4, 5, and 7 or something like that.
Yeah. So Interesting to see. This is also the first time we get George Russell in a Mercedes.
True.
Big change. And will he be Lewis Hamilton's side hustle? Not sure.
Or will he be the next Lewis Hamilton?
That's the question. And that's what he needs to decide, right? So
That's what Toto Wolff needs to decide.
Now, going into this race, we want the cars to be able to race a little closer. That was the whole idea of redoing these cars. An interesting note that I noticed while I was watching the race, the tire warming blankets that they use. I had seen this somewhere, but this year they went from normally they would keep the tires at around 195 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty warm. That's close to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around their operating temperature. They decreased that about 50 degrees to 150-ish degrees Fahrenheit. So now the tires are colder coming out of the pits.
Which leads for more excitement.
Which does lead for more excitement and more slippery cars coming out of the pits. Another note about that, it's decreasing further in 2023 to 120 degrees. And then in 2024, they're taking away tire blankets completely.
Holy cow. So people are going to be coming out on plain cold tires.
Yep. But you see that in other series, like NASCAR's the same way, IMSA's the same way, WEC's the same way. I personally like that.
I think it's a great idea.
The driver should have to put the heat in the tires, and it's a skill that you need to learn as a driver. But back to the racing that happened. The race started, and overall, you could tell that the cars could drive closer to each other, which was good. It was very good. The first 2 laps, the last maybe half of the field was just scrapping the entire 2 laps, which was amazing to see. I'm talking 2 wide, 3 wide into corners. Almost every corner, which was awesome. It wasn't quite the front runners. The front runners were kind of just straight line, one after the other, which is fine. But as we got further and further into the race, Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen did have a battle up for the lead, and they battled straight for 2 to 3 laps. Every single DRS corner possible, they were just swapping position. And it was very fun to watch.
I did watch some highlights of that.
It was very fun to watch.
That's exciting.
Yes. And that gives you hope for these new cars.
Yep.
Because it used to be you had one attempt and then your tires were toast, or one attempt and then your battery was toast.
Yeah,
and
then
you
you're
couldn't
done.
follow anymore.
Yep.
And you were done. But now it was just back and forth for at least 3 laps straight until I think it was the Red Bull that cooked their tires off after that.
Sweet.
Which is fine.
Good.
Yes. As we head toward the end of the race, though, interesting things happened with the Red Bulls.
Okay.
2 Red Bulls, which are the only 2 Red Bulls in the race, both broke down with about 2 to 3 laps remaining in the event.
Oh, no, that's big.
And they were running, I believe, 2 and 4 or 2 and 3, second and third or second and fourth.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that ended up giving Ferrari the win. Ferrari for second place. So Charles Leclerc wins. Carlos Sainz finished second. And then we get Lewis Hamilton in a Mercedes, George Russell in a Mercedes. That's third and fourth. And now we get Kevin Magnussen as the 5th place finisher.
Let's go, K-Mags in a Haas.
And
First
K-Mag,
race back into F1, and you get a top 5 finish.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And he was the one that got brought in for Mazepin.
Uh-huh.
So it was very cool to see that happen.
Let's go.
If Red Bull had not exploded near the end, it was clear that they were faster than the Mercedes. It was clear that Ferrari was faster than the Mercedes, and Ferrari and Red Bull were about equal in pace.
Did they say what happened to those Red Bulls?
I have heard fuel pump problems. I've heard originally on the broadcast they said, we don't know. But from a little more research, it sounds like they might have possibly underfueled the cars.
Ooh.
Which would be a big blunder if they did.
That's not a good look.
No.
And that would be both cars.
That would be both cars. They both did retire in mechanical issues.
Someone needs to go back to math school, I think.
Yeah, and when I was watching the interviews afterward for the head of the Red Bull team, Christian Horner.
Yeah.
He wasn't stoked, but he didn't want to give the reason as to why the cars were bad.
So that kind of leads me to believe.
Yeah.
There's more at play here, I think.
Right. Fuel pump is probably unlikely, but running out of fuel could be likely. Considering they're new cars, and it's the first time they've run this long on these new cars.
True.
hopefully they learn their lesson.
We'll find out, I guess.
We shall see. But yeah, overall F1, a good start to the season. A very good start to the season.
I'm happy with the results of the first race.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to see Kevin Magnussen get a top 5.
I am too, and I
think his teammate Mick was 11th.
Yeah,
which is better than the 18th he's been like every single race last year.
Do you know who had a lot of problems? Or not a lot of problems, but didn't finish well?
McLaren, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not super stoked about that.
No.
I was really looking forward to seeing McLaren with its somewhat kind of golf-themed livery maybe get a top 5, maybe get a little bit of something, and apparently they got a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Not really a fan of that.
Was not good at all.
Yeah. So I guess it's time to move away from the Formula One.
We should get into Sebring.
All right, so let's start with some Sebring. With Sebring, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the 1,000 mile Sebring, the WEC race on Friday, or the 12 hours of Sebring on Saturday?
No, let's go in order.
Okay, so the 1,000 miles of Sebring.
1,000 miles of Sebring.
That was a good race to watch.
Mm-hmm.
First WEC race I've ever seen.
First for me as well.
What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts, very similar to IMSA.
Yep.
Very similar. We know why, because the cars kind of cross and blend at Le Mans, which is fine. Some of the drivers, even the same, not a problem. A lot of the cars looked, felt, sounded the same.
Yep.
They pretty much were. LMP2s were basically exactly the same. Even the GT cars were pretty darn close to the same.
Pretty close, with the exception of the GTE Pro or the GTE field, because in WEC, the World Endurance Championship, they run what's called GTE, and I don't know what that acronym stands for, but GTE style GT cars, whereas in IMSA, the International Motorsports Association, they run GT3 style cars.
Yes, they do.
So the GTE cars, that's equivalent to what we used to have, which was GTLM here, right? So the Corvette C8R, the proper C8R, not the C8R that's been kind of like brought back to reality since, or not, I guess, the C8R that was in GTLM, right?
Yes.
Not the C8R that's been retrofitted to go GTD. They run the RSR and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. As we chat about this, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll pull up some photos of some images that we've taken at the event.
Yeah.
But overall, I really liked it. I was super stoked to see the Toyotas running, to see the Glickenhaus running, to see the Alpine running. And it was awesome to get to see those exact cars that will be at Le Mans just here in the middle of nowhere in Florida.
It is funny how, like, the most middle of nowhere part of Florida you can get.
Absolutely.
We have the world's best race cars.
For some reason. And they come from all around the world. I have no idea why.
It's true.
It makes no sense.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Right. The race overall was pretty good. It did have a disappointing ending.
Very disappointing ending.
Yeah.
It ended under red flag conditions.
It did end under red flag.
Which,
from a classic Florida situation.
Which, as race fans, is miserable.
Yeah. The classic Florida situation is you get afternoon thunderstorms.
Well, of course.
Which happens in Florida every day.
Yeah, which every single day.
5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you start to hear thunder, and then you get lightning. And in Europe, they will not stop racing for lightning.
Really?
In America, they will.
Why is that?
I don't know. But I was watching, I think, Silverstone or something like that, and they had lightning, and they didn't stop the event.
Why did we stop racing? This is Florida.
It's a very American thing to do.
It is a very American thing to do.
Yep.
So throughout this race, did you happen to notice any drama with one of the hypercars?
There was some drama with one of the hypercars.
Yeah, there was.
The Toyota.
Yes.
One of two. Did for some reason stuff it into the wall. I think they tagged a car, put it into the wall nose first, and then proceeded to haul butt around the track and get to a particularly fast corner and turn the wheel, and the car didn't want to turn because it was all broken in the suspension.
Yeah.
And he went into the tires and flipped the car upside down.
You don't flip a prototype.
It's very hard.
Or I guess a hypercar is more specific here, right?
It's very hard to do.
How do you flip a hypercar?
You break the suspension, go way too fast, through a corner, run it into some tires, and roll it over.
Yeah,
That's how.
That's
the only way.
It's funny. Where were we at the time when that happened? We were, I don't know, turn 5 or 6, or turn 5 or 6, something like that. Yeah. We were somewhere in field, and we saw everyone. And it was funny. The race just went red flag for that.
Just immediately red flag.
It wasn't even yellow flag. It was red flag, and we're all like looking around like, why? Wait, what? Races don't just go red flag for something other than like, I don't know,
something really big,
lightning or like fog that you can't see through.
Right.
And so everyone's just like wandering around. They hear someone come on the broadcast, and it's like, okay, one of the Toyotas is upside down. And everyone's like, what? How did this happen?
Yep.
Craziness, I said.
Definitely happened. There was also a Porsche, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the image of this Porsche that has a suspicious door to it.
It does. It is very different.
It is.
It's funny. You and I, we didn't even catch this while we were at the race.
Nope.
It wasn't until we got back and we started flipping through pictures and we're like, wait, whoa, pause, stop, time out. Something's a little different about this car.
Yeah. It has a yellow and blue livery on the rest of the car.
How would you describe that yellow and blue livery? You know how I would describe it?
How?
It looks like the design you got on like a plastic cup in a school cafeteria from the 90s. That like blue and turquoise like swoosh.
Yeah. But
they just, instead of putting it on a white background, they put it on a yellow background.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what the car looks like.
But the driver's side door, and only the driver's side door, the passenger side door is fine.
Yeah.
Is white with red and blue on it. So, and it has WeatherTech.
Yeah,
just
it's wet. It's got wet on it.
It's about to have WeatherTech on it.
Yes.
And it seems like they took this off of the WeatherTech Porsche that was running in IMSA and put it on the WEC car.
No, they 100% did. They definitely did because it is literally just the WeatherTech Porsche door.
You can tell because if you look at the bottom of right under the number, you can see the IMSA badge where the number is. You can see the WE or the
Michelin Endurance Challenge, the Michelin Endurance, the Endurance Championship,
right,
and then also the WeatherTech sports car logos.
Yes. So you can tell they stole this from the IMSA car and just threw it right on top.
Actually, side note, it's actually kind of cool you zoomed in on this picture because you can see the actual manufacturer AP Paget Racing on the brake caliper.
Yes, you can.
I didn't know you could actually see that much detail. But yeah, so my hypothesis is like, I don't even know what happened. Maybe they lost a door or something. They slammed a door when they were in pits and like it just broke something.
I don't know, but here's what I want to think it is.
What?
My mirror wasn't right.
Scrap the whole thing. I can't get this damn mirror set properly. Give me a new, just scrap it. Throw it away.
I don't know if it was scrap it or I'm going to set this mirror of this door, and when we swap me into the car, put this door on the car for my personal mirror. Yes.
This is my door. Get your own damn door, mister.
You know how you have seat inserts? No, we have doors.
Yes, you could get your seat insert and your door all in one foul swoop. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I something happened to my door. Could I awfully have one of your WeatherTech doors, please? Sure. Here you go.
Yep. That's what I want to think happened, but I don't know if that's what actually happened.
Yeah, it's such a random thing, and I can't believe we didn't see that when we were at the race.
We did not. We did not happen to see it.
I like to think we're kind of eagle-eye viewers as well.
You would think. But overall, it was a great race. Alpine did win, so Toyota did not win. And we did talk about them getting the BOP hammer before the race started.
Real quick, that Alpine, what did you think about its noise?
I thought it was decent.
It was a lot more grunty than I was expecting.
You're right. That was.
It was the Alpine.
It was deeper.
The Alpine had this like deeper grunt than I expected out of a hypercar.
Yes.
I expected a hypercar to be much more high-pitched and screaming.
Like the LMP2s.
Yeah.
Right.
And this was like a deeper rumble.
This was a very deep rumble, and it kind of reminded me of the Corvette back in the day.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like
Before they went to their new, whatever engine they have, their new V8s.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
The Toyotas were quick. They were silent. Not quite silent, but nearly silent.
Yeah, they were quiet.
They're the hybrids.
Yeah.
To be expected. And then the Glickenhaus made a decent sound, and it just looked awesome.
Yes. Where'd they come?
Great. They came third.
Yes. So Glickenhaus got a podium. Right. Let's go. So give me some of that.
Alpine. There's only 4 in the class, so I would hope it gets podium. But there was Alpine, Toyota, Glickenhaus, and then flipped over Toyota that just kind of was irrelevant at that point.
Yeah, at that point it's done.
Mm-hmm. Bunch of LMP2s. I didn't really keep up with LMP2.
No one really cares about LMP2.
But in GT Pro,
GTE Pro, yeah.
GTE Pro is what it's called in WEC. We did have Porsche coming out with a win, which was great for you, I'm sure.
Let's go. Let's go. Give me that RSR win, baby.
And then we have Corvette, and then we have another Porsche.
Let's go. Porsche 1-3.
And then GTE AM, is that what it's called? Yeah, GTE AM. We had the Aston Martin coming out with a win.
Which one?
It was the Northwest AMR Aston Martin.
Okay, so Northwest. I'm trying to remember what livery that is.
It has all of the blue and the...
is that the blue and yellow one?
The blue and yellow one, yes.
Okay.
I believe it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm remembering which one this is now. The kind of that like yellow and... Yeah, it was really exciting looking livery. It's a cool livery.
A very exciting livery. And then behind that we had the the other Aston Martin, which had the Seaman livery on it.
Oh, the Seaman livery.
4 Horsemen.
Did we get a picture of the Seaman livery on the Seaman side? The 4 Horsemen livery?
I don't know. I'll try and find one.
I think if you have one open, it's not that side of the car. I see which one you're looking at. It's not that side. It's the other side of the car. So I think you had one up earlier. Go back to one of your opens.
This
other side of the car.
Okay. While we look for that, though, there was another Porsche that came third.
Let's go.
So that was good.
Let's go. And there it is, the Seaman car. So if everyone's watching on YouTube, if you look at just the driver's door, see where just the driver's door opens and how it cuts off the words 4 Horsemen. Does it not just say Seaman on the side of the car?
It does. It is for sure a Top Gear reference.
Oh, 100%.
Because that's what they did with all their cars.
Yes.
Their BMW that ran in their 24-hour endurance race, it was fantastic.
It's beautiful.
It said penis and semen on it, I think.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm glad that the Seaman car got a second place.
Yes. It was very cool. But I think that wraps up basically that race.
I think that's all we got for the WEC race, yeah.
It was very cool to see the cars that run at Le Mans.
Yeah. I was a big fan of that.
But we should move on to basically the race that everybody went for.
Yeah.
You could debate that there were majority of people there to watch the 12 hours.
I would absolutely agree with that.
But we went there kind of really wanting to watch the WEC race.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is the day before we went to Sebring, that Thursday, I woke up with the worst stomach bug or food poisoning or whatever I had of like my entire existence.
Yeah.
It was the most miserable 24 hours of my entire life. And it was so funny because my wife was like, well, you got the 2-day ticket, so if you have to just go on Saturday, you miss a day, but you can still go as long as you're good by Saturday. And she's like, well, what was the race that you like really wanted to see? It's like, I really want to see both, but I really wanted to see the race on Friday, the WEC race. And she's like, of course, right? The day after you're like dead to the world, I slept like 19 of the 24 hours on that Thursday, was the race that I want to see. And miraculously, I woke up Friday morning and I was like, I don't know what God I prayed to, but I'm super thankful that I woke up feeling like 95% good.
Yep.
So,
just enough.
It was like, I woke up, I was like, all right, I need a minute to compose myself, but damn it, we're making it to the WEC race.
And we did. We made it for both days.
Yeah, we did.
But the IMSA race, what was your take on the IMSA race?
Do you want my take on the IMSA race from a Porsche fan standpoint or just from a race fan standpoint?
First from a race, from a race fan.
Okay, from a race fan standpoint, it was fun. It was great. There was some pretty good battles to watch in the DPI class and in the GTD Pro class.
Yes.
Didn't really pay attention to much of the battles in P2, P3, and GTD AM.
Not particularly. It was very similar to the WEC cars.
Yeah.
Sounded pretty darn similar. There were more cars on track.
Which I like, yeah.
There were significantly more high-class prototypes on track. I think there was, 8? There might have been 7 or 8 in the top class, as opposed to 4 in the WEC. And we got to see those prototypes just battle it out.
Yeah, they
just completely battle.
They were duking it out. It was great.
Yeah. A couple incidents. Nobody got any rollovers, which was good.
Yeah.
We did get to see, I think by the end, there were 6 DPIs still on the lead lap, which was awesome to see.
Yeah, it's always good to see people get through an entire 12-hour and an entire endurance race still on the lead lap at the end of the race.
And then we got to see this battle specifically, which was the GTD Pro class.
Yeah, the Corvette, the Lamborghini, and the Ferrari all battling it out.
And they just battled the whole race, which was awesome to see.
They were pretty much lockstep for most of the race.
They were. And Corvette did get an adjustment right before the 12 hours.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So we know balance of performance is a thing, or BOP as we call it.
Yes.
And it's to try to make all the cars even. And Corvette was way down on the scales in the Rolex 24.
Well, some cars are more even than others.
Yeah, but the whole idea is to make it even for everyone. Very hard to do, but that's the whole idea here.
Correct.
And they quickly, I think it was Thursday night, released a balance of performance change in favor of Corvette.
Yeah.
In large favor of Corvette. And it was abundantly clear that they probably swung a bit too far.
Yeah, because they had like an extra, I think, 20 to 40 horsepower, something like that.
It was pretty crazy. And you could see that if they were ever challenged, most of the time they were in the lead. We have many pictures of them with the number 1 on the side of the car.
Yeah, the leader light is the one.
They're in the lead of the class. If they were ever challenged, it was abundantly clear that they could just
drive away.
Yep, just had some sitting in the bank that they could use.
Yeah, because that's kind of the pace the Corvette had, was just, oh, you're with me? I'll just drive away from you.
Right.
That's fine. I'll just drive away from you.
And they did. They did end up coming away with the win, but it was still great to watch.
Yeah, it was great to watch. I think the Corvette sounded better this year.
I think that they did too. I think
then we saw them at the Roar.
I think most of the cars sounded better.
I agree.
The BMWs are still not what they should be.
They're just not good. BMWs have not had a good car, in my opinion, in a while.
No. And you could just end it at good car.
Yeah, exactly. Good look, good sound,
Right.
good everything.
Just good car.
Just good. Yes.
Yes.
Just not a fan.
Yep.
Period. Plain and simple.
Yep. But I will say that while we were there, we did take a couple photos of some awesome cars that were in the paddock.
We did.
Yeah. One
we did.
specifically that we saw was, I think this is a Cayman.
Yeah, so this was in the Porsche Corral. This is a 718 Cayman GT4. So this is the younger brother to the car that we talked about on the news earlier, the GT4 RS.
Indeed.
So this is the GT4 with a very tastefully done martini livery.
Very tastefully done.
Sometimes you see a martini livery and it looks tacky.
Right.
Like, personally, I think the car next to it looks a little bit tacky.
Yeah, I agree.
But this is on a car that is painted in gentian blue.
Okay.
Which is that beautiful navy blue that I think works with the martini livery perfectly.
I think it's almost purple, that blue.
No, it's a navy. It probably is navy. This is the sun. This is kind of the sun setting, so that's why you get the purple. But they painted the Porsche badging around it with the martini colors, but also the Porsche wording is color matched to the wheels, which is called Aurum, which is that like gold bronze.
Yeah.
It is the most tastefully done martini livery I think I've actually seen.
I can't think of a better one.
I honestly think this is the best done up martini livery I've seen on a car.
I think you're right. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I did get to meet the driver of that car. He happened to be out and about.
Really?
Yeah. And he was saying that he had specifically purchased this car and brought it down here for this event. And he was out on the track doing like a $120 before the event.
The parade laps?
Yeah, during the parade laps.
It's funny you mentioned that. Actually, a couple of years ago, there was a guy on one of those parade laps that binned it.
Ooh.
Because those parade laps can get a little exciting.
Yeah, I was surprised that they were doing 120 on the parade laps. That's quick.
Yeah, the parade laps are supposed to be like, let's have a nice leisurely stroll around the course and just look at the track. Sometimes those parade laps can get a little bit exciting.
Evidently they do.
Yeah. But super stoked about that. That's one of my favorite cars that we saw there.
And as the sun started to set, you could clearly see down into turn 7 a lot of brake rotors. Oh, just glowing red.
Is that not like the best part about racing?
You know it. We've said it so many times. There's nothing like night racing.
There really is nothing like night racing.
I don't know how to explain it.
there's just that feel, that sound, that smell, that everything is just every little piece is just a little bit better.
Just notched up a little bit. It's not a ton. It's just a little bit. But
unless you're a prototype or a DPI, in that case, your rotors are not just a little bit, they are glowing bright red.
They're just ablaze red. Yes.
They were.
Yeah.
We did get some really, really cool rotor shots going into turn 7, which we'll have to post up on social. But if you're watching on YouTube, you're actually probably seeing a couple of them.
You are for sure seeing some of them. So let's talk about who did take the W.
Okay.
In the top class, we get the number 02 car, which is a Cadillac. And it was driven by Earl Bamber, Alex Lynn, and Neil Johnny.
It was that's pretty much a Porsche win.
That is basically a Porsche win.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 drivers are Porsche drivers.
Who was it? Neil Johnny and
Earl Bamber. Yeah, those are 2 Porsche studs.
Were they factory drivers?
They were, yeah. I happen to think that they are in this car to be groomed for their LMDH.
I suspect.
I think they're in this car to start getting some prototype challenge or some prototype experience under their belt.
I suspect you are correct about that. And if that's the case, they're probably going to be pretty quick.
Yeah, I have a feeling when their LMDH car comes out, it's going to be exciting.
I'm going to skip LMP2 and 3 because I didn't really
keep up with
it.
Did Ben Keating win LMP2?
Ben Keating did win.
Yes, so I'm a fan of that.
52 car.
Because he is pretty much what we all aspire to be as race fans and race people.
That is true.
He made a bunch of money, and now he just races everything, everywhere, all the time.
That is true.
He races WEC, he races IMSA, he races literally any car he can get his hands on, he's going to race it.
Yep, and that is under PR1 Matheson Motorsports.
That's the Wins livery, right?
That, I believe, is the Wins livery.
Which is a great-looking car. So, that's all I want to say on P2.
Ben Keating, Scott Huffaker, I think is how you say that, and Mikael Jensen.
Michael Jensen, yes.
And then in GTD Pro, we did have the Corvette winning. Nicky Katzberg, Antonio Garcia, and Jordan Taylor. So cool to see Jordan Taylor win.
Yep.
Love seeing Jordan Taylor win. And then in GTD, just GTD?
I guess
Pro.
it's GTD and
just
GTD Pro.
Yeah. We had the Ferrari of, I don't know how you say it, Qatar? I don't know how you say that. Which is the 47 car. It was the blue one, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
And it was Antonio Ferrucci, Robert I don't know how to say his last name, and Giorgio, their Italian last name. Sangioretta, sure.
Something like that.
Yeah. It was great to see. It was a great event.
Yeah. As a Porsche fan, I'm not super stoked.
Nope.
Because none of the Porsches had pace.
Yeah.
Which we knew was going to happen.
They didn't get touched after Daytona. They had pace at Daytona, but pace at Daytona doesn't translate to Sebring.
Yeah, it's not that Porsche was BOP'd, but Porsche was left alone, letting everyone else get less BOP'd, which means they essentially had a disadvantage.
They were purposefully left alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, my Wright Racing Porsche, remember, it's my one of my favorite Porsches, the blue one. You and I were both watching the start, and we wandered back to like turn 15, turn 16 area, and all of a sudden they just like disappeared.
This car.
Yeah, we're like, yo, what happened? Apparently on the 4th lap they had a pretty much gearbox failure. Oof. So they had to swap out the gearbox 4 laps in, and they were out of contention at that point.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So that's actually what happened.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out where did they go.
Okay.
It's because they had a gearbox problem.
There was one note that I want to talk about, and it is LMP3 cars getting in the way.
Oh.
Did you notice that?
Oh, my God. Yes.
The speed differential between...
Especially in the GTD Pro, when like a proper GTD Pro, right? If you had the Corvette with like Jordan Taylor,
right,
with like the most amateurist of a P3, Taylor was... The GTD was passing the P3.
They were.
It's not like just like they were tangling. No, they were just like going around them.
Yeah.
Oof.
It was not good. It was never good to watch that. And I've seen that now in many different IMSA events. And I'm still not a fan of it. I think that they need to either slow the GT cars down or speed the prototypes up a touch.
Something.
Or the drivers need to be more adapt to the car before they get into this kind of class of racing.
Yeah, maybe the P3 drivers need to be less am.
You need to meet a minimum lap time or something. I don't know. I don't know. Because it's never fun to watch them hold up the whole entire like Corvette, Lamborghini, Ferrari battle.
Yeah.
But it was happening consistently too.
Interesting to watch.
It made for spicy racing.
It definitely made for some excitement.
Who do you think gets more upset? Do you think the GT cars are more upset or the prototype drivers more upset?
I think the GT cars are.
You think so?
I think so. If you're a GTD Pro driver, especially, because you're like, okay, I could just, if we were in the same car, I would leave you for dead right now. Please get the hell out of my way. I'm trying to battle this Lamborghini.
That is true.
It's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Granted, I'm not Jordan Taylor, so I don't know.
That is true. Now, while we were there, we actually had an interesting little debacle happen.
We did. We did. We met up with some friends from GT Rally. So Anthony and Matt.
Yep.
We met up with them. Anthony, thank you. We will get a little bit more into this in a second, but thanks for showing us around the GT350. But Matt, you, my friend, had some issues on Saturday.
Some issues puts it lightly.
Can you elaborate?
Sure. We were going to go drive the GT350, and behind it was parked Matt's C5 Corvette, and it's a Z06 Corvette.
Yep.
So C5 Z06. Went to start it, and nothing. You turn the key, the dashboard will light up. Everything was fine. You turn the key the other notch to get the starter to engage and to actually turn the engine over, and you got nothing. It was not good. Now, conveniently, you are at a racetrack with a bunch of car people.
Of all the places to break down, that is the best place to break down.
And it just so happens that Anthony's a pretty good mechanic.
Yeah, I believe he actually wrenches on stuff in the military. So that would make some sense, right?
So we push the car out into a reasonable spot where we're not blocking everybody in.
Yep.
Pop open the hood, start digging around, notice that there's a security light on the dashboard, and end up eventually doing enough Googling with the limited service that we have on our cell phones there to figure out that we need to likely look at the ECU, the computer of the car. And as Anthony goes to take out the parts to get to the computer of the car, we notice that there's water puddling around that area.
Yeah.
Never good.
Never
good.
I am the most useless human being in the world when it comes to fixing things and doing things. But even I was like, I know that's not how that's supposed to work.
No.
There's not supposed to be water there.
No. So it turns out that the drain line for the AC, for the condensation that happens for the AC, is right around the computer.
Oh, boy.
Not a good spot.
So, again, I'm not the most practical person, but water and computers.
No, they don't go together well.
Not usually.
So we eventually Anthony ended up getting out the computer. We needed a little, we first of all needed a way to get down there and get some things apart and take the battery off. So we needed some wrenches and whatnot. And just so happened to be a nice gentleman that strolled by and he's like,
that had a wrench.
Let me go check the back of my Tundra. Pulled out a nice little wrench for us. And we're like, perfect.
Make that work.
No problem. Made that work. And then we eventually get to, Anthony takes out the computer. It's a metal box that has like a Torx, I think it was a T20, which is a really weird socket to have. It's like kind of a star shape. Right?
Yeah, like a really random little weird
Very inconvenient. You're not going to get it with like a normal Phillips head screwdriver or anything like that. And we hand it off to the dude that happened to have the wrench. We're like, maybe you have the magical Tundra of parts and you happen to have this in the bag. Sure enough, he comes wandering back over with the computer and the Torx T20 in his hand, and he goes, here you go.
He's like, it just so happens that my son needed this, just bought this 2 days ago, and here you go. You got lucky.
So we end up popping open the metal box, and sure enough, there is some dampness inside.
Well, what's funny was before we even got it open, I remember Anthony, he shook it a little bit, and water is just spraying.
It's coming out.
Oh, God.
It's not a good sign.
That's not like a drop.
Eventually, when it was opened, you could see that there was corrosion on the motherboard. And the traditional way to fix that in the computer components repair section is to get a toothbrush, actually, and to toothbrush the circuit board to get all the corrosion off.
And that's what we did.
Found a toothbrush, got the corrosion off, put it all back together, tried to start it up. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Same thing as before.
What a day.
Yeah. Everybody's thinking, oh, boy, that's not good. It might be time to tow this thing. So people are on the way. We're calling up the people that we know to be able to get us either a lift back to where they need to go. And I think it was about an hour later. It was like, shoot, why not give it a try? See if the ECU maybe reset or something. Turn the key twice. turn it a third time, and then engine start.
Yeah, we were all just mind blown that this just happened. Oh my God!
Yep.
It lives.
Yep.
It lives.
So after doing a little more research, it turns out that once you take the computer out of a C506, probably any C5 in this case, you need to let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes so it can reset electronically, and then it will start.
And it did.
And it did. And you drove it home, and hopefully it's still working.
Well, I guess we'll find out. I will say, wow, that car was in the random infield at Sebring, just bits and pieces and interior parts all throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could see people like walking by like, what the, oh my God.
Yep, we're taking it apart.
Oh, yeah.
It was being taken apart. So that was a bit of an excursion. In the middle of the race, I'm telling you, between like 2 and 4 o'clock, just wrenching on a Corvette just in the middle of the track.
I was looking real useful.
You were not particularly good at that.
No.
But that's okay. That's okay.
The worst in the world at
You
that.
can schmooze with the old man.
Yeah, hey, I'm good at schmoozing. I am a pro at schmoozing.
So yeah, that was very cool. After that, though, the day before that, you actually got to drive Anthony's GT350.
I did.
His Mustang.
That was the first time I've driven a 5-liter Mustang, but more than that, a Voodoo 5-liter Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
So the Shelby GT350.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I got to drive it the next day. Let's get your thoughts first.
Ooh. I like it. It makes a great noise. It revs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan.
So I've driven the 4-cylinder turbocharged. Maybe it's the 6-cylinder turbocharged. The Mustang. I think it was the same body style that he had.
S550.
Yes. I didn't particularly like that one when
No.
I drove it. Not the little 4-cylinder.
Nothing about that is enjoyable.
It had pep, but it definitely had a weird torque curve because it was a little turbo.
No soul.
No, it didn't. This GT350 was way different.
Yeah.
Way different.
I got a chance to do a pretty much flat second gear into third gear pull.
Mm-hmm.
So my initial thought, this is a flat plane crank V8, right?
Right.
So it's going to rev way higher than a regular V8.
Yes.
So I've got my foot down and I'm at like $6,000 thinking, okay, it's about time I should start thinking about shifting here.
Right.
I should start thinking about shifting. And I look at the tach and I think, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. This revs to almost 8,300. I'm gonna just let this puppy sing.
Did you actually?
I revved it to, I got to $8,000. Yeah.
Dang.
I wanted to get at least one full rev to a proper $8,000 at least before I went for another gear.
Mm-hmm.
And before I knew it, I looked down and I go, oh, Jesus Christ, that's arrested real soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was no one around, and I really just wanted to feel what that felt like in that car.
Mm-hmm.
And holy shit, does that car have some power.
It has a ton of power.
Yeah.
I could not get my head to wrap around waiting until 8,000 and change to shift. Every time my hand was moving at 6.5. And I just could not get my body to not shift at that point. Because in my car, that is like impending doom.
Yeah, you're about to
Goodbye.
like, throw a rod.
Bye, engine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd go look and I'm like, oh, wait, no, I got more. Let me go. Let me keep going. Let me just keep going. I'm going to keep going and keep going. Okay, now I'll shift.
Good on you for sticking in it. I couldn't quite get it up to that. But even the lower RPM that I was at, the torque that thing had was crazy.
I got to admit, I've kind of fallen in love with a Mustang.
You have fallen in love with a Mustang.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I'm kind of falling in love with a Mustang.
Mr. Porsche.
There's a little bit inside of me that's converting. There's a little bit inside of me that's getting converted.
Dang. Okay.
I don't know if I'm fully converted, but I think there's a little bit inside of me that thinks, maybe. Because you got to admit, for a used buy, that's a hell of a lot of car for used car price.
Oh, of car, of power, of everything.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in the market for like a 50-ish grand sports car that's got a lot of power, you'd have to look at a GT350.
Yeah.
That has to be one of your like top 3 choices.
Oh, I think it's either that or a Z06, right?
But you can't really get a Z06 for that money anymore.
I don't think
Z06
so.
have gone up in value way more than pretty much anything else.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I'd say if you're wanting a powerful car in the 50-ish grand marker,
Yep.
I mean, in that point, you'd be looking at an older Z06.
Oh, for sure.
C5 or C6 Z06.
For sure.
Not a C7.
One that probably puts water in its CPU.
Exactly. One where you'll have to like completely take out a computer.
No, I thought it was an awesome car to drive. I didn't get to put it through any twisty bits, really. I got
Me
like
neither.
one okay corner, and it felt fine. It's traditionally not known to be great at the twisty bits, but that's fine. With that much power, you would have enough joy just driving it in a straight line. And I can see why people just take that thing to the drag strip. It'd be awesome.
It just is great. You just want to. I've found myself just intentionally downshifting just so I can hear it.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the noise, did you catch what happens between when you go 5th to 6th with the noise of it?
Yes, I did.
Right. So in that car, 6th gear is what's known as almost like the economy gear, right? And that's what Anthony was saying. It was like, all right, 6th gear. If you just want a comfortable cruise home, you've been at the track all day, you're tired, your ears are shot, just get me home.
Right.
6th gear is what you do.
Yep.
Because what happens in 6th gear?
In 6th gear, I think it shuts off some cylinders, right?
I think not.
Or is it the
cylinders, but
exhaust?
the valves?
The valves?
Right. The valves just close completely.
Yeah, the exhaust valves, I think.
And it's like it goes almost dead silent.
Yes.
It's actually kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I was never putting that car in 6th gear.
I was cruising in 6th for a little bit. I think he was on the phone at one point, so I was cruising in 6th.
Oh.
But once you did go into 5th, it just lit up.
Yeah. It was great.
And then every other gear was just, you are the center of attention.
Yes.
Look
at me.
Yes. Yes. It was cool.
Big
it was
fan.
fun. It was
Big
fun
fan.
to drive. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony, for
Thank you
that
for sure.
experience.
I believe our drives will probably be up on his YouTube channel, The Driver Mod.
Yeah.
If you want to
check him out on YouTube, The Driver Mod. I think The Driver Mod Official, maybe.
Yeah.
But honestly, really, really fun stuff. Thank you again. Look forward to future drives with you guys.
Indeed, indeed. So I think that covers Sebring.
Okay.
As you have been out and about, have you either driven anything or spotted anything that's been interesting?
I've actually spent a little bit more time in the Type R, the Civic Type R.
Okay.
So you asked me prior, does the Civic Type R do the same thing that the Veloster N does, which is like automatic rev match down auto blipping for you?
Yes.
And I have come to determine it does.
It will.
Yes.
So what's your
I've
take
had
on
it in-
auto blip?
I've had it in both sport and R mode. I will say it makes the car incredibly easy to drive.
Yes.
I like it for that reason.
I do too.
I don't like it for the reason that I feel like a fraudulent hero.
Yeah.
Like, I like it because it's like, okay, yep, I know I don't even have to think about this. Because as soon as I go from like 4th to 3rd, it automatically, and I'm good.
And it's good too. There's no
actually really
There's no
freaking good.
clutch feeling of it's just decelerating or anything. It is just perfect.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I could see where that would be really handy on a track.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? So
right.
if you're on a track, especially if you haven't spent 40 years driving a manual around track, and you want a manual because you want to enjoy driving, but you don't want to take your gearbox and put it into 15,000 pieces, right? I would say it's a great thing to have on track.
I can see what you mean by that.
But I still feel a little bit like a fraudulent hero.
Did you ever have it in that mode and not go the full downshift and just put it into neutral?
Yeah.
And then start decelerating?
Yeah.
Did it blip as you put it into neutral?
Like a half a blip, and then it realized like, oh no, I'm in neutral.
Uh-huh.
Like it started to go, it didn't do a full blip. It went like, I don't know, maybe like 800 RPM.
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
Yeah, it
maybe
wasn't a lot, but it was like, oh, wait a minute, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a light coming, so it's like, oh, I'll just go neutral, and it's fine. And then it just, you could feel it want to do it, and then it realized, oh, wait a minute, no, we're in neutral. We don't need to do that right now.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
I think that was the weirdest sensation for me, was going from in the blip mode, going from a gear to neutral and not.
Yeah.
And just having the engine rev out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa.
Can I help you?
Okay.
What are you doing?
You're ready to go.
What are you doing? But yeah, I like it for an ease of driving because it's great.
It was.
It's great.
When I did it in the Veloster, it was very smooth and it was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. But now let's talk about the car spots, right?
Okay.
So My car spot of the week is going to come to something that I saw while we were at Sebring.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Okay. But while I've been on the road,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I saw that is mind-blowing that I didn't know that we had two in town now is a Ferrari SF90 Stradale.
Okay.
So we had talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Saw one on the road. It was the white one that we had around town. Mm-hmm. You've seen it, right?
I have.
I've now seen what looks to be a very similar spec to the one I found on screen, which is a gray and kind of silver with a little bit of a red, maybe a little bit of black in there spec of an SF90.
A very interesting spec.
It's funny because I saw it and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, another SF90. Holy crap. Yeah. Can you believe it? I didn't know we had two in town.
I guess so.
So it's not going to make my spot of the week because I've already seen one now, 5 times. So it's just another cool Ferrari at this point. But it is $1 million Ferrari, and it's cool, 1,000 horsepower, plug-in hybrid, blah, 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 blah.
Do you like this spec of the paint more than the pure white?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I do.
I don't know yet.
When I saw it in person, I do.
Okay.
The white is nice.
The white is nice.
But...
And it's like a marble white.
Yeah, it's like a pearl.
Right? Yeah, it is a pearl, you're right.
This is... I like this. This just looks a little bit more exciting to me.
Okay.
But that's one of my spots.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I spot is another Italian car. It's an Alfa. Saw an Alfa 8C. The 8C, right? Whatever it is. But I know we've talked about this before. We have this red on red one that we have around town,
for sure,
which we see driving around. And I talked to the owner of that, and he's like, "Hey, it's a car. I'm going to drive it." Which I think, hell yeah, brother, get some of that. But this is a different one. The one I saw is a convertible.
Oh, you saw, but the hardtop was the one that you've talked to.
Yeah,
okay.
The hardtop. I've seen the hardtop a bunch. I've never seen the convertible. I saw a convertible today.
I did not know.
Going the opposite way of the highway, and it was another one. Was like, oh my God! Hey! Look at this! Oh my God! Look at this thing!
Very similar to the Stradale.
Because it's one of those where if you know, you know.
Yes.
But if you don't know, you just think it's a pretty looking red Italian car.
Right.
You don't realize how rare it is.
Yep.
But I saw one going the other way on the highway in a convertible.
Interesting.
Yeah. Really, really cool car.
Cool spot.
So, 2 spots that I saw at Sebring.
Mm-hmm.
One of which is an off-road car.
Okay.
They're both made by the same manufacturer, though.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a very well-known manufacturer.
No.
To standard consumer vehicles.
But to the racing community, it is.
Haha. And that's where I was going with that. You got it. So, at Sebring, parked in the kind of, not necessarily in like the actual garages, but just like in the grass.
Close.
In the infield.
Yeah.
Was 2 of Glickenhaus's actual cars.
Jim Glickenhaus.
Yep. So he brought out the Scuderia Cayman Glickenhaus Boot. So Das Boot. It's called Boot is what it is. It's an off-road vehicle. The cool thing about the Boot is, and I've never seen it in person before, but the cool thing about the Boot is that it's a modern high-performance like homage to Steve McQueen's Baja Boot. And what's really cool about the SCG Scuderia Cayman Glickenhaus Boot is that they actually raced this exact boot that we saw, like the exact one we saw, raced in the Baja 1000 in 2019 and beat out the factory Ford Bronco by 280 miles. But wait, it gets better because after it did that, it just drove right on home.
Oh, they did drive it home.
They drove it home.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
It's a road legal, off-road, menacing thing.
Yeah.
It's a boot. It climbs everything.
It looks like it was a monster on the dirt.
It looks like so much fun.
Florida's not where it's meant to be.
No.
But it was awesome to see in the parking lot.
Yeah, we saw it in the parking lot. I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yep.
But a little bit of stats here. It is road legal, surprisingly. It comes with a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. So big engine, right?
It is big.
Comes with an automatic transmission, but you don't really need a manual transmission in this thing, right? Mm-hmm. You just put your foot to the floor and hopefully you just run over everything you see. I think the coolest figure about this car, the stat to me, is the amount of suspension travel it has.
Okay.
It has 18 inches of suspension travel. That's what, 1.5 feet of suspension travel alone.
Yes.
That's a lot of suspension travel. Oh my God.
I will eat up rocks, no problem.
Just anything.
Yep.
More of that, please. Thank you very much. Just Yes.
That is awesome.
18 inches of suspension travel. God,
Awesome.
I love that. But are you ready for the price?
Does it actually have a price?
Technically, it does.
Oh, okay.
Now, every car that Glickenhaus builds is a one-off. So they do bespoke cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is bespoke. The boot is $278,000.
Ooh, boy.
Not a cheap boot, right?
No.
It's not even as it's a bit more expensive than those Doc Ford boots that are really trendy right now, right?
Even though the Bronco lost by 200 miles, it's probably not that much.
No. Well, it's a race truck, maybe actually.
Yeah, okay, if it's a race
Right.
truck, you're probably right.
Either way, this is a $250,000
Yes.
SUV.
Yes. That's wild.
It's wild, but it's cool.
It is very cool.
So it's one of my spots.
Okay.
But my spot of the week is going to go to something much more maybe more exciting, depending on who you are, but more exciting from the Glickenhaus brand.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Glickenhaus also brought out one of the road cars that they've built.
Uh-huh.
One of the very few road cars. They brought out the SCG 004S road car. So 004S.
Okay.
Yes, it's like a James Bondy car, right?
It does sound James
It's the Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus 004S.
Yes.
But it's a really cool car. You saw it too, didn't you?
I did get to see it.
So I'm currently doing something called 75 Hard. So while we're at Sebring, stupid me, why was I doing something where I couldn't have a beer at Sebring? I know it's crazy, but
I didn't drink one.
Yeah, but
That's fine.
it's what you do at Sebring. Either way, part of 75 Hard is going for a workout twice a day. Mm-hmm. So while I went for my morning jog before the race happened, I kind of jogged into the paddock and I was just kind of jogging and jogging and jogging, and this was literally just, again, parked in the grass in the infield.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the 004S. Never seen it before. They've only built one or two of them.
A bespoke race car?
It's a race car for the road.
Yes.
It's road legal.
Yep.
So let me give you some stats here.
Okay.
650 horsepower supercharged V8.
Okay.
Gated 6-speed manual.
Okay.
Yeah, baby. Let's go.
That's a lot.
But maybe the craziest part about this car, guess where you sit?
I saw it. It was weird.
You sit smack dab in the middle, don't you?
You sit center.
It's a 3-seater, baby.
It's a 3-seater.
So you got a seat in the middle and then two kind of just off the sides to you on either side.
It's so weird.
It's a 3-seater.
I actually thought it was really cool the way they did the seats.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Did you see the pattern on the seats?
The pattern was like...
It was like a zebra print
Yeah.
pattern. It was so cool. It was just like someone decided to be like, okay, I just want to build something cool, so I'm going to build this.
Mm-hmm.
And he did.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
That car was oozing character.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. One of the coolest cars I've seen.
Yeah.
For sure. Just a cool car.
And where I happened to see it was in one of the garages.
Yeah, so when I saw it, it was just on the grass on a
Right.
foggy morning at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And then when we walked back through the WEC garages as they were bolting things back up, it was just in the garage and they were tinkering with it.
Yeah, they fired it up as well. It was awesome. It sounded
Really,
good.
really cool car.
It was a wild car.
Yeah,
A
but
really wild
that
car.
is going to be my spot of the week. Now, do you know how much it costs?
It's got to be a lot.
It's not cheap.
It's got to be a lot.
It is $483,000.
It was almost a $500,000 car. Okay.
Yep. But if you're going to spend $500,000 on something one-off, there you go.
Well, what is another car that would be middle seat? Don't worry about the other two on the sides, but middle seat.
This is actually the cheapest middle seat car that you can
Is
buy.
it?
Yep.
Is the McLaren
It
F1?
is the McLaren Speedtail as well. And those are pretty much it.
That's it?
Pretty much.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty much.
The cheapest middle seat car. And it has 2 passenger seats, which you couldn't really fit very big humans in.
You can fit me.
You would fit, you're right.
Yeah, 5'6" on a good day.
I
Yeah.
might not fit in that car in a passenger seat. Yeah.
Either way, that's my spot of the week, is the 004S. that
Very
Glickenhaus.
cool. Very, very cool car spot.
What about you? What did you see while you were out and about?
All right. I'm not going to take any spots from Sebring.
No, not like that Ford GT that was just randomly parked in the infield?
There was a randomly parked Ford GT, but
That was cool.
yeah, well, I think I've used the Ford GT for a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
I did like that Porsche with the livery.
Yeah, the
That
Martini.
was cool. We already saw that, and we already talked about that. But actually, I'm going to kick it back to something that is very local to us.
Ooh.
And kind of interesting.
Okay.
And it oozes some Top Gear vibes.
It does. I think I know exactly what you're talking about
So
here.
local to us with Top Gear vibes would be a Fisker Karma.
It would.
Yeah.
Why does that give us local Top Gear vibes?
Well, it's because James May actually reviewed the Fisker Karma here in Pokey Little Bradenton, Florida.
Yep.
And he reviewed it basically between downtown Sarasota and over to the drag strip near the Freedom Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
How
was
cool is that?
It was very cool.
It was actually really funny. I remember watching that episode, and I'm just like freaking out, like, oh my God, that's 301. I know that road.
Yep. I go there every day. That's awesome. Yeah. So the Fisker Karma, I saw one driving past me on the other side, and I was like, oh man, that's a car you rarely see nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason you rarely see them. Because in 2013, they went bankrupt.
Yeah, they died.
Yeah, Fisker died. But did you know they're back?
I heard that they were coming back.
Yeah, they're coming back. They're actually supposed to be making what's called a Fisker Ocean.
The Ocean.
And it is an SUV. It is an EV SUV.
Oh, boy.
Now, the Fisker Karma was an EV, pseudo-EV.
An EV-ish.
Yeah, it had a gas tank in it. It actually has an engine in it. It will make 403 horsepower from electric motors.
Yep.
Okay. And it has a gasoline engine in it that will give it 400 miles of range, but the gasoline engine just charges the battery. It's like, think of it as like a generator.
Yeah, it's like, so you run out of electricity at home, you crank up the generator. The generator, you're burning gas in the generator, but you're not actually powering your blender with it. You're powering the power that the blender gets with
Which
it.
some would debate is actually like the best way to do hybrids right now.
I actually think it probably is.
Because it gives you the best of both worlds. You can have the long range without the range anxiety.
Yep.
Basically. But on only battery power, it'll only go 33 miles. Not particularly far. No. But, mind you, the average commute for a person is 40 miles or less right now.
Okay.
So, pretty close to that. The little generator that it has is a 2-liter turbocharged, I think it's an Ecotech engine.
Don't know anything about that.
Don't know anything either, but it's only used to charge the battery anyway.
Yep.
The curb weight on this is 5,300 pounds.
That's on par with every other EV out there.
5,000? That seems
That's
a little high to me.
I think that's the same.
Okay. Right.
That's fine.
All right. And I was pleasantly surprised to see the Fisker Karma because
I think it's one of the more attractive looking EVs.
I think so too. Maybe we just have the whole local vibe for it. Maybe that's why we
But
like
I
it.
do like the look of it.
It's not bad.
I think it's actually got a good look to it.
Yeah, and they did some like eco-y stuff in the interior with
They put like the leaf in the headrests
and
all that.
And I think there's supposed to be a solar panel on the roof or something like that.
Yeah, it's power like, I don't know, one window.
Yeah.
Because that's all the power you're ever going to get out of a solar panel.
1 mile a day.
Yes.
But I was actually surprised to see that Fisker's coming back and they're making an SUV called the Fisker Ocean. And it is also supposed to have 250 to 350 miles of range. And I guess that you can pre-order them on their website now.
Interesting.
Did not know. It's supposed to be coming out in 2023, 2024 is what people are supposing here soon.
I guess.
And somewhere between, they're starting between like 40 grand-ish and they'll go all the way up to 70 grand.
Oh, okay.
So a reasonable...
It's the same amount as every other mid-sized luxury SUV.
Right. Nothing too crazy. So, yeah, that's my car spot. A Fisker Karma. Pretty
Sweet. Cool car spot.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are getting a little long on time.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say it's about time for the I Wish They Would Haves?
I would say so.
All right. So would you like to start us off?
Sure. I wish that Chevrolet, specifically Chevrolet, would not put the drain for the AC onto the ECU of a Z06 Corvette. Talk about terrible
I wonder
design.
where that comes from.
Yeah. But talk about terrible design decisions.
Who would have thought that that was a good idea?
And why would you put anything that could possibly get water around a computer?
Like, who at Corvette would have decided, like, let's put this thing that's going to drip all this water right on top of this thing that has all the important electronics for this car?
I felt bad.
Well, yeah, me too. I'm like, that's a damn shame.
Yeah. And there's not much you can do about it. Like, if you have one, you just
hope to God that you don't, I don't know.
The drain plug doesn't get clogged up and you don't start pooling around your computer. That's terrible design.
The horrible design.
You would think that they'd find that in testing, but I guess not. Or they found it and didn't do it.
Is that not like exactly par for the course for American cars?
Yeah, it is. But I don't know why that's the case.
Because it's just that'll do.
It is.
The attitude is just that'll do.
But that's not for all manufacturers. Like Tesla's not doing that.
Correct. But up until recently, the attitude with most American manufacturers, as with British manufacturers, is just simply,
right,
that'll do. Not like we have a standard of it must be excellence or nothing.
Yeah.
It is like, that's all right. That'll do. Move on to the next one.
It works enough.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
Yeah, not great.
Agreed.
So I guess I wish that Chevrolet would like sort out better designs. But just please get better designs in place.
Yeah, agreed. I'm good with that.
So what do you have?
So my wish should have comes from watching cars in pit lane.
Okay.
So I wish that more cars, like consumer cars, had the same kind of quick disconnect, like bumper covers that you would see on like a race car.
Yep.
It would just make, if you scratched your bumper, so much easier to fix.
Yeah.
Just order a new one. Like, it's like one little clip, boom, done. You're good.
It reminds me of like screen protectors on phones.
Yeah.
Right? Just like break that outer part and then just take it off real easily and pop it back on. Pop a new one back on.
Yeah.
And you see it all the time with prototypes. Audi back in the day at Le Mans was great at this. Every part of the car was a section that they could take off in like 2 clips. It was like just 2 clips, and the whole part of the whole rear end with the wing and the taillights and everything came off, and then 2 more clips and pop it back on, and all the electronics would light right up, and they'd be good to go.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually watching like a point of view video of one of the pit guys with Glickenhaus, and they were changing the entire rear wing bumper cover, the entire rear assembly.
Yep.
And I could see what he did with his hands, and it was literally just like one little clip on one side, one little clip on the other.
Right.
Yanked the whole damn thing off, put a whole new one on, and he was done in like 25 seconds.
Yep. That's all you got to do.
Super cool.
I don't know why we can't do that for bumpers.
I wish we had quick disconnect bumpers more common on pretty much regular consumer cars.
I wish that doors were personalized to each person.
Yes, I wish that you couldn't set your own mirror. You could only set your own door with the mirror on it. Good stuff. So I guess that's going to wrap us up for episode 56.
That'll do it.
If you got anything else for us.
Nope, that's it.
All right, so that's going to wrap us up. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you leave us a thumbs up and drop a comment, as well as hitting that subscribe button. We would be super thankful for you. Also, if you're listening on audio, so Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to, subscribe to us there, and then make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and drop a comment if you can. Would love to chat about that on air as well. And send us your I wish they would haves or any auto-related news articles through our social. Facebook is We Are Auto. Instagram is We Are Auto _. I think we've got a website now, don't we? weareauto.io.
We do.
And YouTube is We Are Auto. So thanks again so much for watching and listening to episode 56, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.